All right, it's another beautiful day on the farm, and today we are moving cattle. We're taking down temporary fencing and we're putting up temporary fencing, and we're moving two groups of cattle, which kind of created a problem. We're about 10 posts short for the fence we need to put up, and I guess I could take down part of the fence, keeping the herd in while I put up the other fence, and I've done that before and they walked straight into the forest because they had flies and they wanted some relief, and then I had a heck of a time getting them back out of the forest. So I don't really want to do that. This is the other pen that I have set up with temporary fence. I can use these posts, I just have to take them down, which is okay because the 3 steers that are in here need to go on the trailer tomorrow to go to the butcher, and the trailer loads over here. So my complicated plan is to find these 3 guys wherever they are and lure them over here with a little bit of feed and lock them up in that pen for a couple hours, take down this fence, put it all into the Jeep, drive to the back side of the farm and set up the new fence, move those cows, and then once they're moved, I can let these guys into the 3-acre lot that's behind this barn, and then they can graze and do whatever they want until tomorrow when we put them on the trailer. Simple enough. And the reason I'm not putting them directly into that field behind the milk barn is because I don't want the 2 herds to see each other. If these 3 guys see the rest of the herd, then they'll immediately get upset, stand on the fence and bawl, and create problems. So I need to move them, lock them up, move the other guys, and then I can let the 3 that are going tomorrow back out into that field behind. So people seem to think that temporary fencing is fast and easy and rotational grazing is quick and effortless. So we're going to test that today. It is 12:45 and I don't have to move water today. I don't have to move feed troughs. I just have to move cows and move fencing. So according to the internet, we should be done in about half an hour, and I'll take you guys along for the ride. So this is Cynthia, this is my lovely wife. And the first step is we need to get some feed so that we can bribe the 3 steers into going across here and getting in the milk barn for us. So we gotta go get some feed, step 1 of the 27-step plan.
How much do you want?
That's probably good. We just need enough to trick them.
Okay.
All right, so we got our feed. Now we're going to take down the fence, and the steers unfortunately are way down at the bottom. It'd be nice if we could just take enough of this reel down to lure them, but unfortunately I think we're going to have to take it all down and then walk them back up here. So we'll do that next. I'll carry the feed. Do you mind undoing the reel?
Oh, the winding part?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do the winding part. I don't wanna hook from the Make sure it clicks, right?
Yep. Hey buddy, you coming too?
I was hoping you could close the Jeep over here.
Where's your brother?
Oh, it's hard. Mom.
Come on, boys.
Get in front of me. Get close to Dad.
Hey, boys. Come on now. Come on now. There we go.
There's one. Here the cattle come. Mike, would you mind coming down to the trees? I think we got a phone. It was a monarch. I mean, mob. Maybe it was a monarch. Wonder why I should cut. When I get to the number 2 board, can I cut some string?
Pick up the piece, boys. Close to Dad. Don't run.
Where did it go?
No, but
Like, don't do that. Now can I show you it? I said to those house, the shoulders burned down.
How many's that?
8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I got 3. So that's 11. All right. So we got all the posts we need, and we got 2 reels, which I think we're going to need. The place where we're going is on the map is like 1,500 feet, a little less, but on foot it ends up being more. Last time I had to use 2 reels, so I think we're all set. You ready to go for a ride? Okay. So here's the rest of the herd. I haven't done a head count, but I'm pretty sure. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, there's your. And I know you're not supposed to let your cows get in the pond anymore, but this pond is part of a 2-week rotation. This is the only time they're in this pond. They're on like probably a 70-day total rotation, and of that they spend 2 weeks with access to this pond. So I know it's not the greatest, but especially in June when the humidity is high, I really like them to have this pond. Last year we had a couple with their tongues sticking out panting, and I decided that they should just be able to have the pond. So the way this works is we have a really long stretch going this way that they're on right now. You can't see over that hill, it keeps going. And then what I do is I just pivot it so that then it goes through this forest right here and straight down to the next pasture. So imagine it's kind of like a capital L with the pond at the intersection of the 2 legs. And so we're going from one end of the L, changing the fence and letting them have the other side of the L. So they've been here for a week. I'm gonna move the fence. They'll have access to this pond for 1 more week, and then I'll move them all the way back to the start and start over again. So they seem to be enjoying it though. So we're gonna go down to the very bottom and start putting posts from there, and we'll slowly work our way back up here. The thing I've noticed about rotational grazing that kills you is that you have to walk back and forth over the same line. You have to walk it once to put the posts down, and then you have to walk it again to put the line down. And then sometimes the way it works out, you have to, for whatever reason, do it again. Then if the soil's dry and you didn't bring your rubber mallet, you have to go back and get a rubber mallet and come back. And then you have to take up the posts where they used to be, and then you have to take up the line where they used to be. And honestly, it's just really a lot of walking back and forth over the same ground over and over. And it becomes, you feel like you're just wasting a lot of time. There ought to be a better method. Like if you had a four-wheeler and something to hold the reel while it was unspooling. I've seen Greg Judy do that. Or having a second person do the posts like we're doing today. Look at this field. This is fantastic. It's pretty dead out there in the middle where the sun hits it all day, but there's a nice big green area over here. We're getting to that part of the year where the spring grasses are dying and the summer grasses haven't quite come in yet because we haven't had great rains the last 2 weeks. So this is probably my last really good pasture, and it has a ton of red clover in it. And I planted a bunch of fescue and ryegrass 2 years ago, so it's a pretty good field. And then after this, we're going to be needing some rain, I think. In the last 3 weeks, we've had less than an inch, which for Arkansas is not very much. Usually we get like 50 inches a year. You done? Oh, just make a straight line to the right of that tree. And we're going to hook in right here.
In the middle for support.
Oh. So when you get a really full reel, this is what you have to be careful for right here. That's the plastic keeper that goes on the front. The first time I dropped this reel, I don't know what brand this is, it snapped off, and it's real cheap. So one thing I used to worry about when we first started doing temporary fencing, I was really paranoid about the line touching any vegetation. And so that was always the third trip I made, was after the post and the fence wire. I would always come back then with loppers and lop any of the privet or anything that had grown into the fence. I figured out since then that it doesn't really matter. Is that a blackberry?
I thought it was a strawberry, but yeah, it's blackberry.
The vegetation doesn't make enough ground for it to really reduce the amperage by any amount. Unless it's touching something made of metal, it really doesn't seem to matter. So now I just do a best effort to keep it out of the vegetation and then don't worry about it. So now is the part of the fencing where we need to run the fence down the middle of a deer trail that goes through the forest. There is a nice path, it's just a deer trail path. So it's pretty brushy and swampy in there.
My least favorite.
I know. I don't think I can carry the reel and the camera through this mess at the same time, so.
Should we leave everybody here for a little bit?
I'm gonna stop the video here and we'll come back.
Okay.
I'll set you guys up in the middle of this batch of poison ivy that you're standing in. And we'll see you on the flip side. That butterfly is still on your hat.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not a sticker?
Yeah, no, it's little straw tongues bobbing up and down.
I can't believe it made it all the way through all that scrub in that deer trail.
It's been there since we left the house.
Is that what I say? Raspberries?
Yeah, you said raspberries. I don't think we have any raspberries.
We don't. We have blackberries.
Yeah, we gotta take this reel down. See if I can get these silly cattle to move. They do not want to leave the pond. There they are. Hello, bud. So this reel wasn't quite long enough to get to the fence. It's right there. We almost made it. I think this reel is supposed to be 1,600 feet. And we came up short. So I used to worry about what to do with this reel because you don't want to just lay it on the ground because it'll short out. Well, what I found over time is that it really doesn't matter. This wire to these two little poles are electrified, nothing else is. So if you just make sure that that's up in the air and kind of set it further back so the cows can't step on it, like that. So that's nothing there is touching the ground. This is touching these guys, but these guys aren't connected in any way to the frame or anything else. They're just floating in that plastic. So this, other than the little pieces of grass that it's touching, just make sure it's tight, is fine. And then all you got to do is take your next reel and just wrap it around several times. And maybe hook it right there, like that, and then bingo, see? And then you can just go on to the next post. You probably want to put another post right here in the middle to prop it up because of the extra weight, But all in all, it works just fine and it doesn't short out. So I just want to show you that, guys, that took us a second reel to get over there. All right, so the last and final is to take down this one. So the way our pastures are set up, I've got a hard line, a hard metal line that borders some side of all of our land. And then I can hook on that with the reels and the temporary fencing to create paddocks. So this reel right here wasn't actually used to hold the cows in as much as it was used to transmit electricity way down there where I had a paddock created. So even though we've taken up all the lines that made that paddock, now I need to take down this transmission line that we had set up. So Cynthia's getting the post, and that is unhooked. Yeah. Cynthia's getting the post starting at the other end and working up. And I'm gonna get all the posts at this end and work down. And we'll meet in the middle. And then somebody's gonna have to get the reel. And then we'll actually be done. So you can see, it's not always like a 30-minute rotational grazing job. And I've really tried to understand how people do it. Some people really say they do. I did meet somebody one time and I asked him, and he said what he does is on Sunday, he sets up a big border and maps out a bunch of cells where he can just quickly throughout the week take up a wire, put down a wire, and just move them down those cells that's within that big box he's created on Sunday. And that's how he saves time. I don't move them every day. A week is about our maximum. It just really works around my schedule and how fast the grass is growing, how big the cell is. In the spring when everything is growing fast, they can have bigger cells and stay longer. And then like now when it's getting dry, I'll start shutting them down into smaller cells. And slowing them down. Try to make it last longer. Well, we're about done. So would you say it was fun?
No, but I'm glad we do it.
It's an honest answer. Was it relaxing? Did you feel like you were with nature?
I was very with nature. I had a ladybug, a butterfly, a hawk's feather,
Big black snake.
big black snake,
Yeah.
smushed two assassin bugs. We saw lots of coyote signs.
So as many years as we've lived out here, do you think we've seen probably 15 black snakes? I know when I brush hog I see extras
Yeah.
because they're coming out of the grass.
Okay, I would say 15 sightings, but I would say it's probably only a couple of snakes. I mean, like that one that lives at your mom's that's so big. We see him all the time, but it's the same snake.
Yeah. So out of the snakes that we've seen, how many have been water moccasins?
Excuse me. I have only seen one water moccasin on the farm.
Yeah. I can't say that I've ever seen one since I learned how to tell them apart.
Yeah, and I've seen, since we moved to Arkansas, I've seen 3 copperheads on this property.
Yeah, I see copperheads. I haven't seen any this year. I don't know that I saw any last year.
There's a little buddy.
Little fly spider.
Yeah, they live in the Jeep and let us knock him off.
But yeah, I guess the copperheads kind of like to lay in a road,
Yeah.
and the water moccasins. This area right here used to be a pond when we bought the land. It was a nasty mud hole and it stank. And we had a guy come and bulldoze in the dam and drain the pond. And when he was draining that pond, there was all this gunfire. And he was out here with his 12 gauge pump blasting away at all these watermarks, cottonmouths. And he said, I killed 10 cottonmouths. I ran out of shells. And I'd bet $50 that
None of them.
none of them. Yeah. We got to get the reel and then we are done. All right, so to wrap up the segment, it is right at 3 o'clock. So it took us 2 hours and 15 minutes to move the cows and get these guys set up for their big day tomorrow. I've let them open the gates in the back, so they've got about 3 acres they can graze and browse. They don't seem to be much interested in going back there at present. They seem to be pretty happy in the shade under the covered area, but I'm just filling up their water over here, and looks like we might get some rain. That'd be great. If not, I've got a bunch of hay I gotta go cut. Actually, not a bunch, I've cut it almost. I've cut, raked, and baled about a third of it, and I've cut almost all the rest. And then I realized I hadn't made a video. So if it doesn't rain, I'm gonna go cut that last pasture and I'll film it and get a video of that. It's pretty fun. I'm getting so much hay on this first cutting that I may not need any hay on the second cutting, so this may be the only chance I get to film it. So we'll see. I just wanted to get a little footage of these guys before they go. These are South Pole steers, except the black one is not. She is a she. She is a cull heifer that a friend of mine asked me if I would finish her for him last fall when we were having the drought so bad. He was looking at his pastures and his hay supply and he wasn't sure, so he asked me if I would take her through the winter and finish her out in the spring. So we got her and we got these two guys, and I'd say they're pretty fat. This one I called Joker. He was a funny one when we got him. He would always stand off by himself and he wouldn't be part of the herd. And this one I called Moose because he's got a really long neck and forward shoulders, and it makes him look like a moose. Not as much anymore now that he's fat, but when he was little. And they've got the flies. I guess they could be a lot worse. I hate to see any flies. Look at them on her belly. The rest of the herd I'll probably bring up here. I have a back rub I can put on and some pyrethrum or pyromethrin or whatever it's called, and let them get some of that. It seems to knock down the flies pretty well. So we'll see. But if I could get these guys to come on out of here. Come on, boys. Come on now. Come on, boys. Come on. You got freedom, guys. Look, the gate's open. Come on now. They're not interested in leaving. Maybe they know we're about to get a storm. What you doing? You got no food? What you doing over there, Bubba? Why do you want to stand around in here? Or are you going to be mean to me? Can I pet you? Come on, sweetie pie. Oh, what's all right. Don't hit me with your giant head now. Don't hit me with your giant head. All right. Well, here come the raindrops. I'm going to go. See you guys later.